Hello and welcome to another video on the Broski's channel. Today we are going to be doing something pretty interesting in my opinion, and I'm going to attempt it. Today we are going to play Gran Turismo 4, but we are going to attempt this cheat that's on Codebreaker, and yes, I am playing the game from a hard drive. But today we are going to try and buy every single car in the game with just 1 credit. There's a Codebreaker cheat that allows every car to be bought, and even the ones that you can't really purchase, and you usually have to win an event or a license challenge to win these cars, but they're now obtainable via this Codebreaker cheat. This might be the best intro to any video game that I've ever seen. One of the most iconic race cars in Gran Turismo. Can't quite get my camera here. So I had to take my controller out of the port and plug it back in, because for some reason cheats in this game make the controller not work anymore unless you take it in and out. So here's what we're gonna do. Let's go to Gran Turismo mode. We start off, of course, with just 10,000 credits, and I'm gonna go buy my first car, which should only cost 1 credit. We'll find out. So let's go to a used car dealership. And as you can see, they already have. Here's a Prius, and I don't really want a Prius. I'm not a big Prius person, so we probably won't be buying a Prius. No offense to the ones who do like Priuses, but I just don't think it's an ideal car for this game. Oh my, I can't. I'm trying to zoom in at a certain angle here. There we go. So, will it be an appropriate first car? Hell, I can just buy this Nissan GTR for 1 credit. Is it just 1 credit, or are these free? The used cars must be free, because I just bought a Nissan GTR for nothing. So I was thinking maybe, you know, I could use the credits for a used car and it would only bring us down to maybe like 1,000 credits. But that's not going to work that way. So the Cadillac CN, as you can see down on the bottom, it says 1 credit. Now, what about the other items in the game? Let's go to the Japanese tune shop for Nissan, or let's see if we can install something here. What would be the appropriate amount? It looks like you actually have to use credits for this. So what I'm going to try to do is make it to where there's hardly no credits left. So I'm looking to buy something that's maybe about 9,000 credits. So that would only leave us with like 1,000 credits. Right now I can't find anything. 8,400, that's kind of close. Okay, we'll go back to the engine and buy displacement up. So that gives us 1,500 credits left. Is there anything else cheap that I could get really quick that would really drastically cause this to possibly let's get this. 900 credits is what we have to work with to buy every car in the game available in the dealership. So let's start. Well, first off, we'll start with the American cars. So let's go to the US and start off with the Cadillac CN and purchase it. So that's one car. So if there's a total of 725 cars in the game, then we shouldn't have no problem buying every single car. Let's go down to Chevrolet and buy the cars that are in here. So here's the SSR. We'll purchase it in yellow because that is my favorite color. We'll get in each of these cars as well, so it'll process. The next is a Chevy Camaro. What color? Let's just go with blue. Blue is probably the most iconic color of the Camaro in this game. So this might take a while to buy every single car. Here's the Chevy Corvette. I'll buy it in Quicksilver. Now I'm not sure if the classics are available, if they're considered the same. Like these are the classics right here. Now this is a truck that you wouldn't be able to win normally, but now I can buy it for only 1 credit. So we'll buy the SST Concept. I'm not a big fan of the concept cars in this game unless it's one of the Nissan Zs. I feel like red would be a good color for this classic Corvette. I think I made a mistake. I realized that we were buying the new cars, but what I was trying to say was if the classics count towards the final count of the game, I'm sure it does, so I like that ermine white. I'm gonna buy this color. So we're getting all the Chevrolet cars out of the way with 893 credits left to our name. Here's the Chevy Camaro Z28 with the Le Mans Blue metallic. So we'll buy it in that color. See if I can fix the camera a little bit more here. Here's another Chevy Camaro, which we'll buy in, let's see. That rally green is nice, that green metallic. So we'll purchase this as well. We're going to attempt to buy every car that's available in the dealership. So certain cars like the Polyphony Digital F1 car, we probably won't be able to obtain. That is a beautiful gold on that Corvette Stingray 350. And we'll start I would like to do a full playthrough of this game up to the Gran Turismo World Championship. So why not start it off by buying every single car in the game? That's a nice metallic blue for this Corvette ZR1 1990. Here's a Chevelle. I think would look good in black. So we have 888 credits left. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to buy every car. We'll see how many credits we have left after. Now the Camaro IROC-Z. It's a pretty clean looking car. That's a concept car. I wonder if they made it in real life. I think they did, but I don't quite remember. And last but not least, for the Chevys, we'll go with the Corvette race car, which is, I'd say, a pretty popular car in the early, Gran Turismo games. But we already have a race car. How many more ways can you break the game, right? So let's go down the Chrysler. I think there's only a couple. We have a PT Cruiser. I like the Inferno red coat. So we'll get ourselves a PT Cruiser, which my neighbor actually has a blue one parked outside right now. That looks almost like that, but it's a little bit brighter. Here's a Crossfire, which are really ugly. I never liked these, but I don't know if I've ever seen one on the road. Like, I've seen a lot of these cars on the road, and this game taught me a lot of cars, like their makes and their models. I have seen a couple of these, not very many though. That gold is a really nice one. It's hard to get the car in gold. And I think you win that from one of the Roadster events. I've never gotten that car in gold. And then I've seen plenty of these, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. We'll go with Magnesium Pearl, which is the normal color for this car. The Chrysler 300C. So that's going to wrap it up for Chrysler. Let's continue. Let's go to Dodge now. I think there's a pretty good amount of Dodge cars. It's a Dodge SRT-03, a pretty hot looking car. I'll get it in yellow because that's, like I said before, my favorite color. It matches the Pikachu stuffed animal that I have sitting up. Now we'll get a truck. I feel like that's a red pearl coat. You can hardly see that. We'll just get the Dodge Ram 1500 Hemi in black, because that I'd say is like a normal color for a Dodge Ram truck. Here's the Dodge Viper. Of course, you have to have it in Viper red, right? It wouldn't make sense to not have it in Viper red. If you keep hearing voices in the background, that's just people in my house. Here's the Viper Concept, which of course you cannot buy, but I guess with Codebreaker you can buy it for just one credit. And then here is the race car that has gotten pretty iconic in Gran Turismo. If this was an online game, they'd certainly be suspicious with how many cars I'm buying right off the bat here. And there's only a couple for classics. This one has so many paint options. Call me crazy, but I'm buying this in plum, because that looks pretty nice on this car. And of course it was called Plum Crazy anyways, so that's appropriate. The Dodge Charger Super Bee, which is also another beautiful muscle car. Not sure if they got the engine sounds right for these cars, but I'm buying it in top banana yellow. the Dodge Viper GTS 99, a very iconic car in my opinion. A beautiful car. And I really like the dual blue stripes going down. So I'm going to buy it in silver metallic. And that's going to wrap it up for the Dodges. Let's go to Ford. You know, there's a good amount of Ford cars. Why do I even want this? I don't want it, but I'll buy it anyways. We'll get a black Ford car. Ford car. Isn't that funny? I'm not sure how I don't know if it's actually pronounced that way, but it sounds like you're saying Ford car, but in an accent. The Ford Focus. I don't see too many of these, of the older ones, anymore on the road. But I see a lot of the newer ones. Here's an 02, which is the only paint finish for it. So we might just, instead of, you know, pressing the get in button, we probably won't do it too much longer. But here is the Ford Mustang GT, which looks really good in that silver clear coat. I pressed no this time because I was thinking maybe it would go faster, but I guess not. So here's the Ford SVT F-150 truck. That looks good in white. It looks good in all the colors, but I don't want to have my whole garage filled with just, you know, blues and yellows, because those are my two favorite colors. So the Ford GT 2005. What a beautiful car. We'll get it in yellow and black. And it's May 5th, so for my birthday car, I get a beautiful Ford GT. So that's nice. The Ford GT02 concept, which it wouldn't make any sense to buy another Ford GT in yellow with the black stripes, so we'll just get this one. Is there any more? Yes, the Ford Focus Rally Car. It's not a bad looking car. I'm not sure how well it performs though, but it's a 1999, so they must have liked it enough to include it. We have 866 credits left. We still got to go to the classics. So we'll start with the Ford Model T, which by use of a cheat code, you can actually drive this car and go like 2,000 miles per hour in it. So here's another Ford rally car, which I feel like that's an iconic car for some reason. The Ford S200 rally car. I think there's a basic version of it as well, but I'm not sure where to get it. And this, the GT40 race car, one of the most iconic race cars of all time, after it won Le Mans in the 60s many times. I think it won it like 3 or 4 times. But I had not seen the movie Ford vs. Ferrari, so I'm not sure how it all works out. But this is the, I don't know how to say this correctly, but Panoz Esperant GTR1 race car, which has an engine sound that I really like in this game. I guess that's really the only problem with the game, is the engine noises are not accurate at all. But we have a pretty good amount of American cars left, so let's move on to Plymouth. We got 2. We got a Plymouth Cuda. Excuse me. I'm not sure what color to get it in. Let's get it in light gold. So we're 20 minutes through the video, and we're still on the American cars. Buckle up, guys. This might be a long video. And the Plymouth Superbird. This car is quite iconic for being a NASCAR car back in the day, as the Dodges, including Richard Petty, drove this car in Petty Blue for Petty Enterprises, the number 43. I'm not sure what color to get it in. I'll just get it in yellow. A lot of cars look pretty good in yellow. So that's the end of Plymouth. Now we'll go on to Pontiac, and I'm not a big fan of any of these cars. My neighbor used to have one of these, and it looked like that, so I'll just get that. And then after she got rid of her old Vibe GT, she got a GTO, which looks just like this in the same color. Ooh, that's a nice blue. That's a different blue. You don't see blue that color on any cars these days. Pontiac Sunfire, which you'd win from the license tests. Kind of an ugly car, to be honest. Plus, they only give it to you in black, which adds insult to injury. And one of my favorite cars of all time, the Pontiac Solistis. However, this is the concept car. Why they didn't include the actual car in the game, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that the car released at this time, they should have put the actual car in the game. But I would like one of those one day. I'd like to get a yellow one of those. It's a nice car. Here's the Pontiac Tempest Le Mans GTO. It'd look good in Skyline Blue, don't you think? Alright. So we're done with Pontiac. I had to fix my speakers because my TV has a problem with the 3 cords in the back. Now we had too many yellow cars, so we'll just get this in black. But where you plug in the red, white, and blue component cables, red, white, and yellow. I don't know why I said blue. Red, white, and blue, probably because of the American flag, and we're doing the American cars. Go figure. This car's kind of ugly. But, like I said, we're trying to get every car in the game that is available to you. Alright, let's go down to classics now. We got the beautiful Shelby Mustang GT350R from 1965. My grandpa used to have one back in the day. And then we have the Shelby Cobra, which is pretty notorious for being one of the worst cars in Gran Turismo 3 due to the fact of its horrible tire wear. But then in this game, it's a speed demon. It's a pretty fast car. So that'll do it for Shelby. I think there's only 1 or 2 Buicks. Yep. Unfortunately, if you see one of these cars on the road today, you'd probably consider it a shitbox. It's kind of ugly. But this car is a demon. You have to go up against one of these in one of the races, I think, and it's fast. But if you upgrade this to its full potential, it'll destroy everyone. Because I played through the game before. I've never beat the game 100% or even got close to 50% completion. That's a nice red. And this Callaway C12, which is a shitty knockoff of a Corvette, in my opinion. I guess it don't look that bad. Hell, it might even be a tuned version of a vet. Let's see what it says. An auto engineering firm founded in Connecticut by race driver Reese's Calloway. A Chevy tuner. Okay, see, yep, that would make sense. A non-Chevy model, so they tune more. So, of course, the famous DeLorean, and there's actually a glitch. There's a glitch in this game where if you perform any of the missions in this game and you don't complete the first one first, and then you go to do this one where you get the DeLorean, you won't get the prize car. I think. I don't know. It's strange. So make sure when you play through this game, I'm not sure if it's every version, but make sure that you do the first mission of the mission screen first before, if you want to get the DeLorean. Yeah, that's kind of an ugly color, but oh well. I mean, it looks ugly for this car. If it was on a different car, it would look better. I think we're getting to be almost done here, somewhat. And here's this giant tank car that I don't even know if you can even drive this thing. This thing is huge. You can't even see the whole car on the screen half the time. But I've never attempted to race it because I've never owned it before, but I own it now. Let's go to Mercury. We have the Cougar, which I think my grandparents had one of these back in the day, because I remember that when I was quite young, they had a car that looked like this that they kept. But I'm not sure if it's the Cougar. It could have been another car. But that's probably the earliest memory of being in an older car that I can remember. Okay, so the Infiniti G35. I don't know. I feel like this car isn't that popular. Like, they put it in a lot of the, Need for Speed games. Like, it's in Need for Speed Underground 2 and Most Wanted. But I don't know how popular of a automaker they are, so I bet half of these cars that are in these dealerships, people don't even use in the game, because they probably look at walkthroughs, and they probably just use whatever car that they see other people use. But as for this vehicle here, I've seen the actual version of this car. I think they're pretty popular anyway, so nothing too special. But, when it was a concept car back in the day, it was cool. So here we are with Lexus. Matte pearl is a really nice pearl. It's a nice effect. It'd be a cool car to start the game with. Lexus IS200. These cars are pretty popular. But I think the IS300 is probably the best version. We go with super white. I always thought it was cool that you can also put spoilers on these cars as well. And they would look really weird. There's another IS200. We'll get this in blue mica. Or is it mica? I don't know. So we have 838 credits left, and we're still in the American cars. Here's the IS300 Sport Cross. I don't know. That looks a little different than what I remember. I probably won't be using most of these cars because I'm not a big fan of the American cars. I like Toyotas and Nissans or A Nissan is what you would say if you lived in Europe. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just buying random colored cars at this point. I'm just choosing whatever color I want. We're at 30 minutes in the video, and we still are not even halfway through. This is going to take a while, guys. So that's a GS300. We'll just get in white pearl, because it looks nice. So I think we're closing into the ending of the American cars, and we'll go on to the Japanese cars after this, because there's a lot of them. So we got Chaparral, who's got 2 cars. The race car from 1967, which is a pretty badass looking car for the time. Looks really racy. And then possibly one of the ugliest cars I've ever seen. The Chaparral 2J race car from 1970. What is that on the back? It looks like an airplane propeller or something. And as far as I know, that car is pretty shitty in this game too, but I can't remember correctly. I must be thinking of the Toyota 70, which has pretty bad tire wear on some of the tracks, so. Last but not least, for the American cars, we have Scion or Scion. I still don't know how to say it. I used to have a yellow diecast of this when I was younger. Which I think I think the XB is a pretty cool looking car. I don't know if they call it a hatchback. It's probably what it would be considered. But this one, I don't really like that one. That one's kind of ugly. But okay, so we have bought every single American car in the dealership. So we will continue to try to buy some more. We're going to go on to the Japanese cars now because there's a lot of Japanese cars. The Japanese cars happen to be my favorite. A new course has been added to the original courses. Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. Whoa, whoa, no. We're not doing that quite yet. Alright. I still can't say this to this day. Is it Daihatsu? I think? But there's so much history with the Japanese manufacturers in racing, which is why I love it so much. And you'll see some of these. Wait, isn't one of these a meme car? I was watching a video from a YouTuber who does Gran Turismo content, and I love his videos. I just can't pronounce his channel name. Is it Raffle Waffle? I think that's one of the meme cars that he was talking about. This thing is somewhat ugly, so I don't really like this one, but oh well. The good stuff is coming up, including some of my favorite cars in the entire game and the entire franchise. But let's get the classic midget out of the way. This thing's got a pathetic 11 horsepower. But what do you expect from 1963? Alright, Honda. Some of my favorite cars are in this dealership. We'll see them pretty soon. There's a lot of Honda though. We'll go with the Insight, which is an ugly car. Ugly. Don't like it. But they call it a hybrid, so if it's considered a hybrid, I wonder if it's an electric car. I'm not sure. That'd be weird if it was, but it looks like it would be. Honda Fit. I guess a decent little hatchback. or a hot hatch. I don't know. I don't know what it's considered. I still see some of these to this day. They're kind of ugly as well. Honda, well, they're like a mixed bag. I've seen some of the best car models that I've ever seen compared to some of the ugliest ones I've ever seen. This is a Honda Odyssey. Why would they put a van in a racing game? Like, who would want to race a van? Unless there's an Odyssey race, which I don't think there is. The Honda Civic, and now this is where we're getting into some of the good cars here. This is a Type R. But there's some pretty good cars here. The Honda Accord. Which we see a lot of these still today. I'm not sure if you probably don't see that exact model that often, but it looks modern. It looks pretty good for like a 2002. It almost looks like a modern car that you would see today. Here's an Integra, which is very hot. Gorgeous body. I love the rear spoiler on it. That looks really good. But for me, the fun is just beginning. Here's another Accord Coupe, or Coupe. Probably Coupe because it doesn't have that little apostrophe on the E. This video might exceed over an hour, which would be the first video that I've ever done that's an hour long. So here's a Honda S200. Oh, that yellow is so nice. I know that you guys probably can't see the colors that well on my screen because I don't have a very good camera for my phone. Here's another Honda S200. Is there orange? Yeah, that orange looks nice. There's not very many orange colored cars out there, as far as I know. But that looks good. Here we go. One of my favorite cars of all time, the Honda NSX. God, this car is so hot. I love the taillight in the back, the little spoiler back there. That's a hot car. It's one of the best cars of all time, in my opinion. One of the best sports cars ever. It'd be nice to have one maybe one day. I'm sure they're expensive though. The NSX-R, Type R, I guess you would call it. I like how they have it, the certain colors with, you have like certain racetracks. You have Indy, Silverstone is a racetrack, Sebring is a racetrack. I think that's just, the silver looks good there. But we're just getting into some of my favorite cars in the game. The NSX, the Japanese racing cars. That Monza Pearl Red looks really nice. That is hot. That's a Type S. Cars that would cost a lot of credits. Not paying a hell of a lot of credits for any of these. Here's a concept car. It looks just like the NSX that I just bought. So I don't know why they didn't include this. But hey, the more cars, the merrier. Now we have an Integra touring car. Which, by the way, I love the livery on this car because it says Gran Turismo and it has PlayStation 2 right there in the front. That looks good. And then you have a beautiful looking race car, which I might as well buy the blue one of this as well, especially if I do some races with it. That's a nice car. The S200 Le Mans race car. The Honda I don't think I've come across this car before. And you know what I just realized? The Gran Turismo, okay, we'll have to hold that thought. Now we're getting into some of my favorite cars in the entire game. These JGTC race cars, these are some of the best cars overall. Only because the All Japan GT Championship is probably one of my favorite. This car is so nice. I love the Castrol livery on it. Beautiful car. That's one of my favorites. But that series in this game is one of my favorites, and just in general, in actual motorsports, it's one of my favorite series of all. But just this series in general, this car is one of my favorites as well. I love even though it's plain white, it's still a pretty clean looking race car. The Mobile One NSX, very nice looking. Now this car right here is my favorite, one of my top 5 favorite race cars in the entire game. I don't know why, I just love the livery so much of the Ray NSX. Just a beautiful car. I don't know why, but the gray on the bottom looks so good. And the Takeda Dome, which in real life racing, that race team had some of the worst luck in racing for the, well, they call it Super GT now, but you know, back then it was called the All Japan Grand Touring Car Championship. But it's one of my favorite racing series of all time, not just in Gran Turismo, but in actual real life. God, do I really want to buy this piece of junk? No. I highly doubt anyone would even drive that thing anyways. No offense to the ones who have one in real life, if they do. There's a lot of classic Honda cars here. They're kind of ugly, but I didn't realize it was going to take this long to do this, so I'll probably end up releasing a part 2. God, that car is also super ugly. It's the Honda ZX70. Here's an S500, which is, it looks pretty nice. I actually know someone who has one of these in my town. They just drove by the park that I work at earlier in one of those, and I said hello to him. It's a pretty nice car. I wonder if he'll let me see it. Or maybe it's it's a S600. I know it's one of these. Either way, I think they're pretty nice classic convertibles. Well, we have 799 credits left, so excuse me, we should have enough. And then we have an S800. Man, hold on one second. My allergies are really kicking in. Ugh. Ugly. A junk Honda Civic from the 70s. Look. God. Honda cars back in the day were so, ugh. They were very, very ugly. That's another ugly car. No offense to anyone who sees this video and they have they own one of these cars in real life, because I'm sure they're really nice in real life. Do you ever feel bad for, let's say you win okay, this car, I don't like this car. I've had to use it in Gran Turismo 5, or is it Gran Turismo 6? I think it's Gran Turismo 6. I got it as a prize car. Ugh, just ugly. Like, Civics are probably my least favorite car. It's a nice livery, however, and it's probably a classic. Like, it probably won races, but I'm not a fan of that. I don't know what the hell that noise was that I just heard outside somewhere. Sound like a pop noise. There's an orange car. Can't go wrong with an orange car. I don't see much orange cars, like I mentioned before. It's a 1600 GTR. So we're getting to some of the best makes in this game. We'll probably wrap it up after I purchase all of these. So here we are with Mazda, one of my favorite makes in automobile history. They have my favorite race car of all time that won the 1991 24 Hours of Le Mans, the Mazda 7870B. Sorry, 787B. I screwed that up so bad. Now this one's kind of nice how it has red seats, so we might as well get the red version. But I would like a Mazda Miata in real life one day. That'd be a nice little car to own. Take on a nice drive on a cool autumn day. We'll just buy it in metallic. But after we clear the Japanese cars, we'll probably end the video. But it would probably be my very first ever 1-hour video, the way things are looking. We got a Mazda Protege, or is it a Protage? I don't know how you say that. I think it's Protege though, because it has that little apostrophe on the top of the E. There's a Mazda 6, which I actually know someone who has one of these in real life also. Well, unfortunately, she used to have one, but she crashed it. She lives all the way out in Japan. I actually met her playing Gran Turismo Sport online. Her name is Maxine, so if you're watching this video and if you think it's weird or cringe because I'm doing this, oh well. Big shout out to you, as it's pretty neat that a friend that I met on a racing game online lobby on, I think it was Street Stage X, that really long airport track thing. Wait, okay, I was about to say I know I bought one of these, but we met on a racetrack, and I was drafting her down the stretch, and that's just how we started talking in the chat, and we became pretty good friends. So here's another RX-8. Might as well get it in red. But it's just pretty cool to me that a friend from all the way out in Japan, overseas, I met her in 2021. I still talk to her to this day. Oh, I forgot how nice these RX-7s look. with the rotary engine. Or would you pronounce that rotary? I don't know. My English is not that good. And yet I am English. Wait. I'm not English because then I'd be considered oh my god. I'd be considered British then, right? I don't know. I live in the United States, okay? There. Oh, this is taking a long time, but I thought I'd be up to the challenge here. But we have 781 credits left. Which is more, that's still more than enough, and we've at least bought I'd say 100 cars by now. Maybe more. The cross sport, I've seen. I think I've seen those cars before. My old neighbor, when we lived at our old house, used to have one when she lived across the street from us, I think. It was red just like that. Of course, it wasn't a concept car, but you know. Look at that little Carol 360. This car is also pretty ugly. You know, Mazda's one of my favorite makes of all time. And here we go. My favorite race car and my favorite car of all time. The Mazda 787B. One of the most legendary cars. The only I still don't know how to say this. Is it rotary or rotary? I can't see it. I'm tired. But it's one of the only. It's the only car. I almost just bought two of them. The only rotary engine car that ever won Le Mans. There. Holy crap. It's clear that I'm tired and I've never recorded a video this long before, so. But now we are in Mitsubishi, and there's quite a bit of Mitsubishi Lancers in this game. Especially like the used cars. Here's an Eclipse Spider. That's a nice blue, a steel blue color. It looks gray over camera, I bet, but it's not that bad. The Mitsubishi Airtrek. I'm filling up my garage with a bunch of cars that I probably won't be using, but I just wanted to try this challenge to see if I could actually buy every car in the game. The Mitsubishi Eclipse, this is a pretty nice car as well. I just love that blue. I believe the Eclipse was one of my first cars I ever purchased playing Gran Turismo 4, my first ever playthrough. I think it was my third car I ever bought. Here's an Evolution. I think the yellow Evo is a meme at this point, I think, according to Ruffle Waffle and the GT community. But I'm not sure if it's that particular model or not. Use some pretty powerful cars here. Here's another one. I don't like the wheel, the hubcap design for that. I don't know why they even used that. Interesting. Oh god. Oh, that's ugly. I don't know if that's supposed to be an electric car. It probably is, but it's ugly. Super ugly. I can't believe a person would actually look at it and be like, oh, I want that. You know, it was a concept car, so I'm not sure if it was actually ever made into production, but whew, I feel bad for the ones who have to see that thing. That's a pretty cool rally raid car. It's a super rally car from 03. Yeah, some more ugly cars here. I don't know why a lot of the cars from the 70s have like the sideways mirrors that are coming out like where the headlight is and the roof. I mean the hood. Ugh. I don't know why it's so ugly to me. That's what the old Lancers used to look like in the 1970s, early 70s. Oh god, another one. Oh boy, that's another weird looking car. I don't know, I can't remember if that was in any of the early Gran Turismo games or not. If it was in GT1, 2, or 3, but I can't imagine how it would look on PS1 hardware. Oh man, that'd probably be an eyesore. Here's another rally car, an older Mitsubishi Lancer. It's pretty neat to think that Nikon was a company in the mid 80s. Because when I think of cameras, I think of modernized cameras. Here's another Lancer rally car from 1997. The amount of autosaves that that the PlayStation has had to do since buying all these is just insane. And I can't believe that we're at the almost at the 1 hour mark here. I've never really seen that car before. I don't know if I've even seen it at all. Like, I know it was in the dealership, but I don't really care for rally racing all this much. All right, Nissan or Nissan. Some of my favorite cars are also in here, including my favorite production car of all time, which we will be coming up on shortly. And I have a neighbor that has one. Well, it's kind of a neighbor, I guess. He lives down the road. But that's gonna be I don't drive yet, but that's gonna be my first car in real life. Not that. I'll show you coming up. That kind of looks like the Infiniti G35, the way it's slanted in the rear and the back. Here's a Skyline sedan. And we have passed the 1 hour mark for the first time ever in any of my videos. I've never made a 1 hour video. Another Skyline sedan. GT-8. Probably won't be driving any of those unless there's a manufacturer's race that uses those. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite car of all time in history, other than race cars, the Nissan 350Z, or Fairlady Z, they call it in Japan, or 350Z if you're in America. I don't know if they call it Z anywhere else other than overseas, but oh, what a beautiful, beautiful car. I'm going to get the green one for the Roadster, but this is what I would love to have as my very first car, is the 350Z or 350Z. It's just really, I don't know, I think my main love for the car came when I think it came when I used to play Need for Speed Underground 2, and when this car unlocked, it was my favorite, probably because of Rachel's car, if you know what I'm talking about. Alright, we have all these Skyline GTRs here. Might as well just buy all of them. Of course, we're trying to get every car in the game. So, but man, I can't imagine how long that this video is going to take to upload. The V-Spec 2. This is also probably one of the greatest cars of all time in terms of production. Its history in racing is also insane. That white pearl is really nice. I'm not sure what NUR means on this. When I first got the game, I thought it meant Nürburgring. What color have we not purchased yet? Just plain old white? My neighbor's getting into his blue PT Cruiser, but the engine just quit. So, uh-oh. I know they've been considered ship boxes in the past, but Midnight Purple. That's a really nice finish. The V-Spec N1, the V-Spec 2 N1 with a black hood. I wonder if that's a matte hood. You can't quite tell. My favorite car in Gran Turismo 4 for production cars, the yellow 350Z concept. Well, the Gran Turismo 4 limited edition. Sorry about that. I got it confused with the concept car from Gran Turismo 3. This is pretty interesting. This is the 2001 GTR concept car, which would ultimately, this would become the new style GTR. As you can see, the front already kind of has the current GTR look. They know what they were doing with that. Here's one of these weird race cars that I'd like to take place in. I like how the Nissan logo is in yellow there with the PS2 logos on the bumpers underneath the grille. So here's one of them Japanese Grand Touring cars. The Sylvia? I don't know. Sylvia. I think that's how you say it. But I don't think I've ever seen one of them racing in this game. Oh, what a beautiful livery. The Calsonic, the Nissan GTR Calsonic race car from 2000. One of the most iconic liveries of all time. That plain blue. It's just so nice. The Loctite GTR from 2000 as well. I believe the GTR was pretty good in the early 2000s in terms of racing for the All Japan Grand Touring Car Championship. That's a nice Pennzoil car, by the way. But there's another Pennzoil car that I think is better, and that's coming up later. Let's see, a 2001. Well, I would say Gran Turismo 4 has some of, if not the best, racing physics in any racing game. And here we go. This is also one of my favorite cars in the entire game. The Motul Pitwork Z, which is a Nissan 350Z race car that actually won the championship in 2004. Or was it 2003? I think it was either 04 or 03. I think they won the GT300 class in 03, and then they won the GT500 class in 04. But that is such a beautiful livery. And in a super fast car in this game, especially when you play through the championship mode, you have to either have that car or have one of these cars because they're pretty fast. But this is the GTR. Nismo. I believe this car won the 03 GT500 title. Here's a Falcon race car. Was this a... I don't think that was a part of the Grand Touring Car Championship. I don't know. Or maybe it was. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember seeing it in any of the races. But this, I think, is one of the most iconic Gran Turismo cars ever. I'm not sure why. I just thought Gran Turismo 3 really put that car to fame. I'm not sure. It's a beautiful car. I can't remember if that's also in Gran Turismo 2 or not. But I've always had a heart for Pennzoil liveries because my favorite NASCAR driver, Kevin Harvick. When I first got into NASCAR, which was my first ever love for any type of auto racing, he drove a beautiful red and yellow. Oh my god, I cannot talk today. Red and yellow Pennzoil shell car that he won the Daytona 500 with. Sorry, I can't speak today. But that was my favorite first car of all time. Like my overall first favorite car ever. Holy shit, I can't speak. Now, we have 725 credits left, and I highly doubt anyone's going to watch all the way until then, but I'm totally going to have to put out part 2, because this is taking way, way longer than I thought it was going to take. So, once we clear the Japanese cars, we'll end the video, and we'll probably put out a part 2. So, we'll start probably with the British cars maybe after, whenever I do the part 2. The Nissan Fairlady. I wonder if that's the first model of the Fairlady Z. Okay, there it is. That's what it used to look like in the late 70s. So you can kind of see like it still has that type of shape. The similar shape that the modernized car has. Of course, they don't make the 350Z anymore, but they make the 370Z, I think. And I can't believe how long that this video is. We're at 1 hour and 11 minutes, and I don't have an editor or an editing thing, so they're calling this a GTR. I wonder if that's the first GTR model that was made for Nissan. I'll have to do my research. So here's the 1973 version, which actually looks pretty nice. Aside from the weird mirrors on the side. Oh boy, we still have a pretty good amount of cars here for this. I'd say Nissan was probably one of the most innovative car makers in the 1970s and the 80s. So here is the R390 GT1 road car, which I believe this car also appeared in Gran Turismo 3, but they cut the horsepower way down compared to the race car, which is, by the way, I think the race car is crazy overpowered in these games. I can't quite remember. The 240 RS rally car, which is kind of weird looking, a little too long, I would say, especially when you want to, go around tight corners. I'm not sure how that car performed, but ladies and gentlemen, this might be the greatest Japanese racing car of all time. The 1993 Calisonic Skyline race car. This car was so dominant in the Japanese Grand Touring Car Championship. It won 29 consecutive races from 1990 to 1994. That is just an outrageous stat. Wow. This car was a Le Mans car. I don't think it ever won Le Mans, but that's a beautiful, beautiful livery with that checkered pattern on the front. Oh, it's so nice. This has become one of the most iconic cars in Gran Turismo due to the fact that it was in Gran Turismo 3. The R89C, you can only obtain this by doing one of the mission tests. Well, one of the missions, it was given out as a prize car by completing a set of missions. The R92CP was another dominant Group C car in Japan that I believe won 3 championships before they banned the Group C from competing. But that's a $4.5 million car that we just bought for 1 credit. Oh my god, look at all the cars still left. How many Subarus are there? Oh god. Well, this is going to take forever to upload, so I'll just leave it here. I will buy 1 Subaru, which will be the first car, the Legacy B4. so that when we do part 2, I'll know what car that we're on, and I'll start from the next car. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. We still have 709 credits left, and still so many cars left to buy. But at least with that yellow marker right there, it tells me what car I have. So that's a cool little touch. We still have Suzuki and there's some really good cars in the Toyota section. And here's all the circuits that we unlocked for arcade mode. Wow. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. We're almost there, kinda, buying every single car in Gran Turismo 4 with just 900 credits. Thank you guys for watching part 1, and we'll see you for part 2 coming up, and probably, I'd say, within the next week of this being uploaded. So I'm recording this on a Wednesday afternoon, but I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week.